What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and we're doing our daily update on Terra Classic, talking how this thing gets back to the cents or even 10 cents. Is it possible? And what happened to the burn mechanism? Make sure you subscribe for all your Terra Luna updates. Appreciate all the support recently on the videos. Let's jump into it. Now, first things first, the SEC is sticking their nose in again, investigating the company behind Terra USD. Now, this is one of the things that could cause some problems. I thought it was important to talk about it at the start. The digital currency collapsed in dramatic fashion last month, which we all are aware about, losing all of its value. And I guess, look, ultimately, without kind of reading through all of this, what they're doing is looking at if there was anything in the marketing of the product or the blockchain or the token itself violated US laws. You can see here, the Singapore registered firm that created the Terra USD stablecoin and Luna token violated US laws regarding how it marketed the crypto coins. Bloomberg reported Terra and Luna functionality lost all its value last month. Terraform tried relaunching Luna, creating a new token and rebranding the original to Luna Classic. And according to Bloomberg, members of the SEC's Division of Enforcement are investigating whether investor protection rules were broken through Terraform's marketing of tokens. Now, we all know the SEC wants to get their way with this, and we do know that it's actually been moved to the futures trading department as opposed to the SEC as a crypto in general. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens. There hasn't been anything from Do Kwon. He's kind of gone a bit quiet, but I actually don't think that's a bad thing when we really have this kind of governance element that sits on the Terra blockchain. Now, the big question is, how do we see it, where are we seeing it, and when are we going to see this implementation of the burn? If we take a look at the chart right now, we have seen a bit of a pullback from yesterday. So we're obviously up around the 87255, which actually, though, when you consider Bitcoin has dropped down to 29.2, at one point this was 28.3, it's actually a pretty solid chart. 1.585 trillion on the volume, significantly better than the Terra 2.0. And I do think we're going to see this migration back to the original Terra Classic blockchain. There was even a tweet by Do Kwon that was saying that there's going to be some pretty heavy marketing and some pretty big upgrades to the Terra Classic blockchain, which is surprising considering he was so ambitious to launch Terra 2.0. The other big question that comes with this is that there's rumors, or there's certainly investigations, that he was cashing out over 80 million per month before Luna and UST collapsed. I guess the question is why, what he was doing it, but the Terraform Labs employees told the US Securities and Exchange Commission that Do Kwon cashed out 80 million every month. The US Securities and Exchange Commission recently inquired into Terra's poor design structure and conducted remote video surveys. Luna 2.0 price plunged 85% since it launched, continuing a downtrend as analysis predict further losses. I don't think you have to be a genius to work out the fact that the reason 2.0 has collapsed is because, well, not collapsed, but certainly has reclined, is people are just selling them. Lots of people bought in. We saw an increase of nearly 20,000 wallets in the space of a week with people buying into this to get the airdrops because everybody assumed they were going to make a ton of cash, which didn't really happen. They tried to look after the people that got hurt the most, but we didn't really see anything kind of come of it. So it just kind of goes on to talk about the algorithmic stablecoin, what happened, and then where this money was pulling back. At the minute, it doesn't feel like there is a ton of evidence to support it. There is an employee statement that they're pulling 80 million out. Where's it gone? You can see here the SEC notes that Kwon stated that 80 million withdrawals a few months before the collapse of Terraform Labs sister token Loon C and UST, the activity being considered suspicious and related to money laundering. I mean, it's possible. Who knows? But certainly, you know, Do Kwon needs to probably stay away from this as much as possible, or certainly try to. And we can see another vote on the Terra station. If we just click back off this burn one on the voting, currently the rebuild, the leadership change and future use plans. Now, this does lead to a bigger question around this governance section of this. Now, how do they pass? What does it look like? We saw this got submitted. The tax and burn 1.2% has passed significantly well. We didn't have to see any single no votes on this. But the big question is, when will this be implemented? How do we see that? How does that work on a top tier one exchange? You've got to understand this is on top tier one exchanges. Binance, Coinbase don't support it, but FTX, KuCoin, all the big ones, Mexi is a big supporter of it, which don't then support a burn mechanism on the big blue chip blockchain projects. So it's going to be interesting how they then put it in. Certainly on the current Terra blockchain, and you can see we've got NFTs, we've got contracts, governance, staking, swaps. It's all built onto the blockchain, but in terms of trading it, which is ultimately what is going to reduce the volume, reduce the supply, obviously the goal being this 10 billion Loon C, is going to be the one that's going to be need to work through. And then equally, how do we then track it through? Now, there is the Luna burner, which tracks a address where it all goes in. You see the address down at the bottom, and this is where the current amount of burn is. So we're at 905 million tokens, but that's 0.01% of the total supply. So a long, long way to go. Although this is a positive step in the right direction, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen very quickly. And equally, we still got to make sure that it actually lands on the blockchain, it's upgraded and implemented, and then it still supports it on the tier 1 exchanges. So I guess right now, is 10 cents possible? Look, of course it's possible. It's going to take a significant length of time. If they get this 1.2 burn in and the other proposal to add another 35% monthly burn on the blockchain, then quite possibly. But we are going to have to see some significant volume, and given the market conditions right now, feels like we're not going to get that for a long time. But if it stabilizes, we start to see some good volume, we see apps coming back to the Luna Classic blockchain, we see people interested in why it is. You can see here on the technicals, it is in the buy zone right now. Then potentially we're going to see a big volume come through. Potentially we're going to see people move back onto this blockchain, and potentially we could absolutely see 10 cents quite a way down the road. But let me know what your price prediction is in the comments down below. I'm super excited. We're going to be following this daily with some updates. So again, thank you for the support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on your way out. Give it a thumbs up, click the notification bell so you know when I upload every videos daily. And guys, I will see you in the next one.